Hey, it's 10:40. First of all, can I just say thank you, Ella Levy? She got these eyebrows all figured out, so I want to just give her a shout out. She's not watching. In fact, no one's watching, but I had to say it. And Olga also. She's also doing a great job with my eyebrows, so I trust them both. I want to talk to you about continuation of the empowered wife. And I want to just start with a discussion I just had. First of all, hi Albina. We just went out with Albina. Because every girl deserves to go out with her girlfriends once in a while, right? Can I get a like for that? We take ourselves we feel too guilty when we go out. I know I feel guilty. I'm like, all these emotions. But we really just have to enjoy our time with our girls. It's okay. And she talks about it in this book. We're going to talk about that today, chapter 4. All right. The more you know what you want, the better. And that doesn't mean I know I want my husband to help me with the kids. Every time he comes home, I just assault him with statements of, this is what didn't go right with the kids. You know, you still have to help me fix that the tile on the floor, and I need you to bring down those stuff to the basement. It's so weird. After reading these chapters, I started to pay attention to what's coming out of my mouth, and it's crazy the amount of verbal assault. Like, I attack my husband as soon as he opens the door. Right away, think of things I need to get done, things he didn't get done, things I need to complain about. And I have to give him props. He hasn't, he hasn't given up on us yet, so that's a good sign. So if your husband's still coming home at night, you're a keeper, and so is he. Okay, let's talk. Okay, the more you know what you want, the better. Lucille Ball writes, it's a hell of a start being able to recognize what makes you happy. And remember, in this book, the goal is to focus on your own happiness, not on changing him or making him make you happy. Really, she talks about, we're not working on the relationship, we are working on ourselves. Because when we feed ourselves, we can feed our relationship. How many times have you done something for yourself and you've come home a little bit more complete inside because you said to yourself, I matter. I got my eyebrows done today in the rain. I drove. Why? Because I matter. And it's hard for me to take care of that piece of myself because they grow every freaking 10 days. And I just wish I didn't have to do it every 10 days. But God's like, take care of yourself. So I'm like, I gotta take care of myself. I digress. I'm digressing because I'm distracted by the amazingness of my eyebrows that happens once a month. Okay. The first step to making yourself happy on page 35 is knowing what you want. Do you know what you want in your life? I feel sad for that younger version of me who couldn't figure out how to say what she wanted without making a demand, having an expectation, or starting a fight. Does that sound familiar to you? Because it does with me. Since I didn't say anything about my desires, I knew I wasn't going to get them, and that was frustrating. So now what she does is, she keeps a list of stuff that makes her happy. I actually wrote down a list for myself. She started writing down her desires nearly every day. Now it's a habit. I haven't written down every day. I wrote it down once. She's kept it for over a decade, and she's considered it a list of essential things that make her happy and how to create a happy relationship from it. So now she writes, I was unhappy because I wasn't making myself happy. That's why I hadn't been tuning in to the subtle marching orders my soul was giving me. And you know what? I see this all the time when I do assessments with people who want to lose weight, especially the mothers. And I ask them, what do you think is a challenge for you to lose weight? And you know what they say? And this will sound familiar to you, or you know someone who said this. I just don't have time. Sometimes I forget. I forget to eat, and then I'm starving, so I just eat whatever's in my face. I just will eat whatever's there. Why do we do that? I know I don't go to the bathroom sometimes for 2 hours at a time when I need to use the bathroom, but I'm just like, oh, but my kid needs me, my this needs me, my that needs me. And you know what? You need yourself. If you can't give to yourself, what example are we giving our family to treat us a certain way? If we can't take care of ourselves, how are they going to be treating us? That's her book. Her book is like, treat yourself better, because the more you invest in yourself, the better you will be treated. I actually got myself a personal trainer. Sounds bizarre even hearing it in my own ears. I did it on a Zoom app where, it's a conference app, and she just does some exercises with me, and then I paid for it for 72 hours after. It was a mistake for doing 30 minutes of exercise. I realize that now, that I'm a wimp. My body's super, super weak, and I can only do 5 minutes of exercise at a time. But you know what? I did it for myself. And Mom, if you're watching, I'm much better now. I'm not in any pain, okay? I just wanted to add that. So now, I almost always had an immediate thought about why I couldn't have something, which made me feel bad. I discovered that I had a habit of dismissing my desires before they even bubbled all the way up to the surface, because it was no fun to think about what I was never going to get. So instead of acknowledging a desire, I'd squelch it because I was sure I couldn't have it. So if you can imagine, there's nothing that's not a very empowering approach to life. So she gives a few examples. Number 1, my desire, I want to live by the beach. First thought, we can't afford a house by the beach. Conclusion, we can never move and we'll be stuck in this house forever. How I felt hopeless and stuck. And she talks about this again and again. She wanted off on Mondays. First thought, my boss would never give me off on Mondays. Conclusion, I have to keep working 5 days a week, which means my work is going to keep draining me and keep taking up all my time and energy. How I felt as a result of this thought, hopeless and stuck. And this keeps going on and on. I want you to pay attention to your own desires and think, what's the process of how you process that thought? Okay. And then she explains, because you never pay attention to yourself, that's why you're always grumpy. If only I had known how to stop and linger on the desire that was underneath my negative thoughts, that would have saved me years of being grumpy. Now, honoring my desires simply means I acknowledge them. Guys, I'm skipping. I'm not reading every line. I'm just reading to you like points that meant something valuable to me. Even if they seem impossible or impractical, or that having them would make me lose something else that I love. I admit my desires to myself and I tell them to other people. I write them on a list, no matter how outlandish. This is a whole chapter devoted to just talking about doing something or thinking about something that you want for yourself. Maybe you want a nice dress. Maybe you want a day out for yourself. Maybe you want to get your pedicure. Maybe you just want time alone from everyone. That's good to honor those desires. We squelch them, and then, when we're asked to do more for other people in the house that we live in, because we're doing a lot, we become very resentful. And you know what? It's not a pleasant person to be around. And our spouse doesn't really know what to do with us. Now, what if you still don't know what you want? When you go to write your list of desires, you might come up empty at first. This actually happened to me. You may be tempted to skip this step. I was, actually. Maybe you think it's silly or pointless. I did. Okay. Maybe you think you know what you want and don't need to spend time writing it or talking about it. Maybe you've spent so long shutting down your own desires that you can't really hear them. Truth. Maybe you don't want to commit to a desire because you think you may change your mind, and that's okay. You might, yeah. My problem was, if I have a desire, then I'll entertain it, and then I'll be disappointed. So why even start down that road? That was my issue. Now, here's a list of her desires for today, okay, on page 41. I find this a little odd, but some of it actually made sense for me. A hula hoop, a clean garage, to sleep in on Sundays, to see a summer concert at an amphitheater, a facial, sushi for lunch, and she goes on. You guys want to hear my list? I put it right underneath. This is what I want. A clean, uncluttered home. Clean brows. I wrote this 2 days ago, okay? Draw my baby. I love to draw, and I haven't picked up a pencil to draw a picture in years, and I really want to do that, but I don't know why. I always stop myself. Have a scrapbook. More alone time. Dishwasher. A dishwasher would make me very happy. Pretty nails, although cleaning them sucks. A few days away with my husband. My wedding ring. I lost my wedding ring. I don't know where it is. Just so embarrassing. That's all of chapter 4. I have a lot less people there. It's like 10 people left after I started sharing my story. But I want to share with you a last thought. I just spoke with a good friend of mine, and she told me her husband's not feeling her, meaning she's like, please help me with the kids, I'm overwhelmed. And he's like, listen, I don't want to deal with this right now. You're the mom, you're the wife, you know your place. My place is to bring in the finances. You do your thing. And you know what? She felt powerless and hopeless and helpless. And just listening to her, I felt her pain, because I've been where she's at. And sometimes I'm even, present, going through the same thing, because I think every woman can put herself in that place, even though it may not be the case. But we give up our power to our spouse by saying, I need this from you, give it to me. And you know what? Creates this struggle where he's defending himself why he doesn't give it to you, and you're just like, I need it from you. And there's a lot of friction, because you're not seeing eye to eye, and you're not feeling him. I want to give you some kind of prayer and direction when you're going through this. Number 1, if you want peace in the house, you have more power than you let up. You have more power than you realize in your marriage than you let up. My thing that helped me, and it still helps me now, is this. Brendan Burchard shared this with in one of his videos, and I'll share this, and it brings you up to a better place. For example, when I said this, she told me, you need to go through a challenging time for you to understand what it looks like to appreciate your life when things get better. Sometimes life is tough, but that doesn't mean the marriage is worth sacrificing for it. Gotta get through the tough moments to get to the good moments. Yes, I know you're going through a hard time, but understand, everything in life moves forward and it changes. The question is, are you changing with it? Are you improving yourself? Because if you want a different life, you have to become a different person. You have to become a better version of yourself. Because if you're seeing a life that's not working for you, it's because you have to step out of that space and become a bigger person than where you're at. And I want you to understand one last concept. Being in a dark, cold, bitter place is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying you should be abused. I'm just telling you, what you're going through is always transforming you for the better if you let it. Similar to a seed planted in the earth where it's dark and cold and you don't really see the sunlight. Sometimes that's how you feel in your marriage, where it's dark and cold and there really isn't any warmth. But you know what? Through that experience, you transform into figuring out how to be strong and how to rise. So when you go through that soil, you stand strong. Even the wind can't push you down. Even the rain can't break you, because you are growing and you have roots and you've been through challenges and you can shine in the sun now. And whether that means that's with him or without him, what that means to say is life is always happening for you. It is not happening against you. Whatever you may be experiencing right now, this helped me a lot. God gave you everything you need. You lack nothing to create the life you want. This is the world you're in, not by mistake that you married him, not by mistake whatever life you have, the deficiencies you experience. It's all part of the evolution to feel your best self evolving. And I see that when I ask my future self, can you please help me out not to lose my sanity? And she always pulls through. I want you to experience that and ask yourself, really, just go for it, because Brendan Berger did this. It's so smart. You need to close your eyes and ask your future self, what do I need to do? What can I do? How can I improve myself? How should I get through this moment? It's amazing. The thoughts always take you out of the current drama that you're in, and it lifts you above that. You understand what I'm saying? Try it. You don't even have to tell me you tried it. But I tried it and it's helped me so much. I share, because whenever you share something that worked for you, it gives it a blessing back to you, and it allows you to have more knowledge. Whatever you know, share with people, because that's really your gift. I want to just bless you to feel empowered as a wife, as a woman, as a human being who has so much to offer in this beautiful world that you're in. And I want to again just thank you for listening. That was chapter 4 for the empowered wife. We shall move on to next week. Homework for this week: do something from the book, from your list, whether it's spending time with a friend outside the house, or getting yourself a pedicure, or taking a bubble bath, or reading a book for 30 minutes. Whatever is on that list of what I want for myself, do it. That's your homework assignment for tonight, for this week. I did it today, actually. Went out with my friends. I planned it 2 weeks ago, and I made sure someone's going to be with the kids, because I'm not about the abandoning situation. It was so nice. 2 hours away, just to spend time. We need to do that. We need to just evolve ourselves and be with other adults sometimes, right? All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. God bless you. Bye. Have a wonderful week. Bye. Look at these eyebrows, guys. Thank you, Ella. I'm sorry. I'm such a I can't help it, because it only happens once a month, okay?